Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Welcome into the Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today. I'm Maurice Patton along with Wade Neely as Chris Yao continues to be on vacation down on the Gulf Coast. So we got through yesterday, Wade. I guess we'll try to get through another day here today. Pretty big show. I'm looking forward to our second segment of the day as we're going to speak with Ryan Moore, owner and chief executive director of the American Collegiate League, which is a summer softball league for college players. You know, you've probably heard of wood bat leagues for college players, college baseball players. Well, he has put together a series of leagues for softball at the collegiate level as well in the summer. And one of them is the Music City Collegiate League, which would tell you it's in Nashville. They actually play in Clarksville. We're going to talk a little bit more about that with Ryan Moore, though, here in the second segment. And as we typically do on Tuesdays, we will have Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, at the top of the 3 o'clock hour, talking all things MTSU. And having communicated a little bit with Chip yesterday, we've got some things to talk about there as well. Also, Braves chatter, and it's Top 5 Tuesday. We will be and Wade, you may not, our top fives are typically topical from something that Chris and I have come across or discussed, and this is no different. We were having a discussion about the cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car by Luke Combs in the studio one day last week, and so today's top 5 is top 5 cover songs.
See, now here I was, Mo, thinking we were doing a cover of me impersonating Chris Yao for the week.
Well, that too, yeah.
Okay.
But no,
so it works both ways, I guess, right?
It absolutely does. But yeah, I do not anticipate Luke Combs' Fast Car being on this list, by the way. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. So that's what the show is going to look like here over the next hour and 25 minutes now, since I've taken up the first 5. But before we get any further into the show, we need to give you yesterday's scores. There were some interesting ones, and today's short schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Monday, Major League Baseball scores. The Brewers defeated the Mets 2-1 as the Mets free fall continues. Hate to see it. Okay, I'm lying. The Mariners defeated the Nats 8-4 and the Braves with a 4-1 win to open their series at home against Minnesota. Also in college baseball, we'll be talking more about this in a second, but LSU claims its 7th national championship and does so in dominant fashion with an 18-4 win over Florida in Game 3 of the series out in Omaha. WNBA action. Las Vegas completes the sweep of Indiana with an 88-80 win on its home court last night.
Good win, too. Stayed up late to watch that one, Mo. I'm repping the Aces, and we'll talk with Chip. Our girl Alicia Clark hit a couple big buckets last night for the Aces. So good win, good win. To the MLB schedule we go for today. Around the horn, here we come. Marlins are at the Red Sox. That game begins at 6:10 p.m. The Brewers will travel to those free-falling Mets, also scheduled for a 6:10 first pitch. The Braves will get underway versus the Twins after a nice win yesterday. They start at 6:20 on Valley Sports South. Astros visiting the Cardinals. Good old school NL Central rivalry revisited there at 6:45. The Phillies travel to the Cubs at 7:05, and the Nats and Mariners will get it on at 8:40 p.m. out on the West Coast. In minor league action, the Sounds are at Memphis. Good showdown there, beginning at 7:05 p.m. And in WNBA action, the Liberty are at the Sun. That game is at 6 o'clock. It is on NBA TV. And 2 games that are on CBS Sports Network. The Storm will visit the Lynx at 7, and the Wings will travel to the Mercury at 9 o'clock.
And that is your rundown. Top story brought to you by Piggly Wiggly out in Neely's Mill here in Columbia. Be sure and check them out for their lunch deli, their hot plates out there, and also get your fresh cut meats over at Piggly Wiggly over on at Neely's Mill. Sorry, not to be confused with Neely's Bend in Nashville. So yeah, as we mentioned, LSU bounced back from that 24-4 game 2 loss to Florida and put up a men's College World Series single game record, 24 hits, to down the Gators 18-4 and claim that program's 7th national title. They had been tied with Texas with 6, which is the second most behind USC's 14, I think. So, Gators, Gators gone. Go Tigers, Geaux, as one of my photographers, Rick Bew, likes to text me from time to time. But yeah, that's it's pretty impressive. Wade, I don't know if you got to see any of it. I did not. I was on a youth baseball diamond last night doing a little umpiring, but was trying to keep up between innings. I'm sure folks were wondering why I was looking at my phone all night, but the
game that you were umpiring was probably far more competitive than what we saw out in Omaha last night, I would venture to say.
Yeah, fortunately it was. But yeah, did not expect this. I mean, again, LSU wins the opener 4-3 and 11, and then it's Florida having their way in that 24-4 win on Sunday to get us to last night. And Florida went up early, 2-0, and then just kind of stood in their tracks, I guess. LSU with a 6-run second and just pulled away from there. So, man, dominant performance. And, you know, again, Chris and I, for whatever reason, had kind of felt like LSU might be the team to beat in Omaha, but did not see it going like this in the final, 18-4. I mean, that's got to be 2 of the widest margins in a College World Series game ever, that 24-4 on Sunday and then 18-4 last night.
Yeah, and you always hate when a tournament, whether it's a playoffs or anything like that, where the final game kind of ends in a blowout fashion. And I'm like you, I was headed home fully intending to watch the game last night. And I said, let me look at the score on my phone on the way home. And it was already 6-2 or 8-2 at that point. Mm-hmm. And Twitter, by all accounts, it wasn't a fluke 8-2. You know, it was like, hey, they came to play tonight. So I kind of popped in, kind of popped out, largely popped out. I was kind of flipping around the major league diamond at that point. But, man, just LSU just absolutely flattens Florida. And I didn't get to watch much of the finals, unfortunately. But you could from what I had gathered, what I had heard, Florida, not only were they winning big on Sunday, but they were kind of stealing some bases late in the game and kind of rubbing it in a little bit, and obviously it's easy to say now, but you kind of wonder if they kind of didn't tick LSU off, add a little fuel to the fire, because, man, they came out and blasted the Gators yesterday.
Yeah, Dylan Cruz goes 4 for 6 with a triple and 3 runs. Tommy White, the NC State transfer, goes 4 for 7 with 3 ribs, a double, and scored twice. Braden Joe Bear had a single, a double, and a home run. Finishes up just short of a cycle in the World Series Finals. Did not see Paul Skeens. Did not need Paul Skeens. LSU, again, just dominant in this 18-4 win. And we've got Chris Lee of Southeastern 14 lined up to join us tomorrow, because I'm curious, and Wade, you might have some thoughts on this. LSU got some pretty key transfers that played a pretty vital role in this national championship run for them. It's tough to talk about college athletics anymore without talking about NIL and the transfer portal. And when you look at what LSU baseball did on top of what LSU women's basketball did en route to their national title a few months ago, are people concerned? I mean, is there concern? I don't know what it is. LSU seems to have figured some things out a little bit more quickly than some other places, maybe. I'm not sure, but I just wonder what the climate is in terms of particularly college baseball right now. Is there a concern about, not necessarily how LSU is going about things, but how you counter that if you're not LSU?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. I suppose you could say this about a lot of sports, maybe not as much football, but in baseball, you add one major bona fide arm or maybe even one key position player to the lineup, and it could totally change the dynamic of your team. And if you can add an ace potentially at your 3 or even, at your back end of your rotation, you're darn near unbeatable, it seems like. And obviously any team can be beaten on any given day, but the transfer portal, we discussed Tennessee kind of in their transfer portal woes or potential woes right at the end of our show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like, it's trickling down to baseball. And that's a sport, to me, it seems like, especially when you think about the arms, that one big player could come in. Basketball, you think about it for sure, but especially baseball, you get one big arm or one big bat that comes in, it could totally change the dynamic of your team and your season.
And when you say if you can get one big arm and one big bat, LSU did both. Paul Skeens coming in from Air Force, Tommy White again coming in from NC State, and both of them were instrumental, to say the least, in this championship run for the Tigers. So, and you have to figure, once you've kind of figured out the secret sauce, there's more where that comes from. So it'll be, again, I think it'll be really intriguing to keep an eye on how they follow up on that and how other people respond to it.
Absolutely. And, we had Dugan Lyon on yesterday with UT Southern, and I covered NAI athletics kind of like you have for a long, long time. And there were a couple teams a few years ago. You'd add one big bat, a Division I transfer, and we saw teams that were at the complete bottom of our league that were winning the league or competing for the championship the very next year. So baseball, to me, seems like a sport that it is going to continue to we'll see the transfer portal. It seems like we're almost scratching the surface. For whatever reason, it seems like football obviously got the big hype. Men's basketball got a lot of the hype, women's basketball. But now it seems like baseball is a sport where you're really, really seeing huge dividends paying off. And as you mentioned, coming from Air Force, not exactly, a school that you would think of as a major, major power. But baseball, more than any other sport, they find these diamonds in the rough. And you have one great season at a smaller school, and then, boof, you're off to the races. And we obviously know where Mr. Skeen's probably going to end up as a result of success he's had at those 2 stops.
Yeah. Again, didn't see him last night, but
didn't need to
between the way with which LSU handled Florida and, the workload that he had already seen over the course of the tournament. And so, I think it worked out for the best for all parties that he didn't touch the mound last night. And LSU wins their seventh win, as Dylan Cruz apparently pointed out during the course of the game when he was pointing to his ring finger. Put something on this. So,
and it was great too. They showed Skeen in the bullpen last night, and I want to say it was 7th or 8th inning. Game is clearly over essentially at that point. And he's kind of warming up, and he had this look on his face, and I couldn't figure it out. Did he want to get in? Was he cool just hanging back? But he was kind of, warming up and stretching with the bands. But yeah, they absolutely did not even come close to needing his services last night.
Well, and that might be a situation where even though they didn't need him, I'm sure he wouldn't have minded getting in, maybe for a third of an inning, just to be on the mound for a game of this magnitude. Probably would have meant something, but you don't need, with what he's got ahead of him and what he's already done, you didn't need that. So again, I think that probably worked out for the best for all involved there. Again, LSU defeating Florida 18-4, claiming their 7th national baseball championship.
And I guess a real quick question too. You may know better than I. Obviously, we're thinking about losing a couple of those big guys, him and Tommy potentially. But I guess I'm curious, where does LSU go now from here? And that's without even the transfer portal. Seems like they've got a really talented roster already coming back. And that kind of is where we get into that transfer portal. You had 1 or 2 key players now, and you don't even notice a dip in production potentially going into next year.
Right. And I think that's really an interesting dynamic for coaches in every collegiate sport at this point, just managing your roster from year to year, because like if you are LSU, you're not just looking at who you've got coming back, but you're also looking at potentially who you've got coming in, and how does all of that work? How does that all fit together? That kind of thing. So it's different for sure. I have been on record as saying that I really feel like the players deserve this opportunity to, kind of chart their own destiny to some degree. But I do feel like the transfer portal needs some tweaking, because I don't want to say there's too much movement, but it feels a little out of hand, maybe. I don't know. So
yeah, and I'm with you 100%. I do agree, and I do love the concept of charting your own path. Everyone deserves to fit in where they maybe best fit in my opinion. And I also have the opinion that players should be justly kind of rewarded for their performance, and whether that's NIL or whether that's just in landing at the right fit for them. But it seems like we're just kind of we kind of got everything squared away with the transfer portal, kind of got NIL going. Now you can kind of start turning the dials a little bit and kind of tweaking just a little bit. And I feel like that probably will come. It may just not come soon enough for some folks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shifting gears, Wade, there is an article on CBSSports.com from yesterday, I guess. It seems as if HBO's summer series of Hard Knocks is coming close to landing, and it seems like they had a tough time finding a team to work with them this year, and I guess the NFL has kind of forced this on the New York Jets, which one, I'm a little amazed at the fact that nobody really wanted to deal with this. It says that Robert Saleh indicated that his team is not interested in welcoming HBO and NFL films to document the club's run up to the 2023 season. But it really feels like with them bringing Aaron Rodgers in over the offseason, I think that's probably going to be the most compelling preseason camp in the NFL.
I would agree with that. And, the HBO execs are obviously salivating, hoping that the Jets would, somehow, some way agree to it. But if you're a team that, and this sounds weird, I am a Jets fan. This does sound weird saying this, but bear with me. They do have a little bit of expectations now going into this year for the first time in a long time. And if I'm a head coach with a team with a little expectations, Hard Knocks is probably one of the last things that I want to get into. However, if I'm a team like the Lions last year, which was a great series, a team kind of maybe on the cusp of breaking through, kind of get your name out there, so to speak. Obviously, wins and losses tell the tale of the tape, no matter how it shakes out. But if I'm a team like that last year, I can see it. But yeah, if I'm the Jets, I really want no part of this, because you got to wonder what Rodgers' psyche and mindset being in New York already. I mean, he's already been all over the cameras, at Taylor Swift concerts. He's at Madison Square Garden. He's just living the New York lifestyle already. And, that's always the one thing they speculate about these quarterbacks or these big marquee free agents coming to New York is, how will they handle the bright lights? And then you just throw Hard Knocks on top of it. It just doesn't seem like it would be a great it would definitely be a headache for sure for the Jets.
No question. Apparently, the NFL has a set of criteria that dictates who is or who isn't eligible for Hard Knocks, and the Jets are one of 4 teams that are eligible based on that criteria. The other 3 being the Bears and Saints, who have resisted the idea, and the Commanders, who, according to this article, would be open to a partnership, but perhaps only after their pending ownership change is complete. The league also reached out to the Lions for a redo from last season, and they shot it down. So I don't think this is finalized, but it seems to be firming up that Hard Knocks and the Jets will be on your television screen here in a few weeks as we get ready for the 2023 season. When we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, we will be joined by American Collegiate League owner and CEO Ryan Moore. So stay with us.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Welcome back to Today's Better Health. I'm Colleen Barton, and I'm here with Dr. Gil Kentoff and Dr. Wendy Toohey, and we're talking about the latest treatments in back and neck pain.
Many people, Colleen, come to see us with neck and back pain, and they develop tingling and numbness down the arm or lower back pain that develops into sciatica shooting down their leg. And for these patients, we have an advanced treatment technology, non-surgical decompression therapy that we really introduced to this area. It separates the vertebrae and creates a suction to allow fluids and nutrients back in to heal the disc naturally, relieving pressure on the nerve and on the joint. It's an amazing treatment.
We've been helping patients like this for the last 30 years, helping them get back to work, get back to their family, get back to the life they want to live. I mean, it really is amazing. Technology helping us to live pain-free and better lives.
Right.
And I bet you have a special offer.
The first 25 callers will receive an examination, x-rays, review of our findings, and their first treatment, all for $39.
Call 615-551-3897 today to receive this special offer.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back to the Top 5 Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. Chris Yao is out on the beach somewhere. And some beach somewhere. Yeah. Hope he's having a good time. Actually talked to him briefly after the show yesterday, and at the time they had not made it to the beach yet because they had gone to the pool and the kids were worn out. So, bad scheduling.
PB and pre-beaching.
Yep, that's it. So hopefully they'll make it down at some point. But as we mentioned a few minutes ago, we are about to be joined by owner and CEO of the American Collegiate League, Ryan. I lost his last name. Ryan Moore. Sorry. They've got well, I tell you what, Ryan, tell us what y'all are doing. How's that?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for having us on today. Really appreciate it, and appreciate all you guys do for the game. And we're no different than you guys. We're just doing it, on the playing field. So the American Collegiate League is an umbrella of summer collegiate type of leagues. And we started the Florida Gulf Coast League back in 2020 during the COVID year. And for girls softball, in fact, we actually got our start in baseball back in 2017 down here in the Florida Gulf Coast League. And then we said, hey, why not do softball? So we did softball, and man, it became a hit. In fact, it became such a hit down here in Florida that we had a waiting list the last couple of years. So as the game continued to expand, we looked at, maybe instead of just trying to, pack the state of Florida from a logistical point of view, hey, let's look at other parts of the country. So we've nationalized this opportunity. And, we want to give the girls the same experience in Florida that we do in other places. So therefore, the Music City Collegiate League was born last year. And here's our first inaugural season up there in Clarksville, Tennessee. So we're excited. The season's been going great. We have 6 competitive teams up there playing at Clarksville High School. And Austin Peay University has been a great partner for us. The city of Clarksville has been a great partner. And all the local community members have been terrific. We can't wait to get back there next year. Our girls are having a blast. So we're going to bring college baseball in 24 to Clarksville as well. So we're excited about that. And that's what the ACL is. It's an umbrella of regional leagues. The Florida Gulf Coast League has an agreement, the Music City League. And as of today, I don't know if you saw the big news this morning, but we just announced the Golden Bay Collegiate League in Irvine, California, coming on board with us in 2024. And we'll probably have another league underneath the ACL come in off this offseason to make this more of a national campaign for summer collegiate softball.
So you're just giving these college players an opportunity to continue to play between their college seasons then?
That's correct. Yeah, it's after they get done grinding it out all spring, there's a lot of players that were either injured or redshirted, or girls that may be in the transfer portal, or girls that just like to to play every day. I mean, there's all the above. We have All-Americans here and there. We have every, players that didn't get much playing time here. We've got girls in the portal here. We're kind of an all above approach type of system. If you just love the game and you want to play every day, hey, we give that extra opportunities. And it's exact science. Down here in Florida, for example, is obviously our premier league. We've had, just for example, this past year in the College World Series between Oklahoma and Florida State, we actually have 12 current Florida Gulf Coast League players that were on those current rosters at Oklahoma and Florida State just in the College World Series and the 2 out of 3 series. So I think we had 20 plus athletes in the College World Series this year. And it's kind of like that in the last few years. And so it's no different than baseball. These girls come here, get better, and they fall in love with softball again. And they go back to their programs better than ever before. And, with a lot of new friends and a lot of new opportunities. And it shows. They get out there in the fall and spring and just kill it for their programs. And we just love it. They win, they do, they get better. That's what the whole point is.
So, how long have you all been playing? I happen to see some tweets of some pictures from a guy that I follow, Charles Mays, who does a great job as a photographer. And when did y'all get started up in Clarksville?
This was our first year. We made the announcement last summer in July that we were going to start the Music City Collegiate League, and we spent the whole off season planning for Clarksville. I was up there a couple months ago, doing our relationships with the community support, and man, we hit it hard. We have 6 teams up there, about 86 players playing in that league up there with Music City, and it's only gotten better. Brian and Joe from Clarksville High School couldn't be more proud of those guys. They have made the field extra special. Austin P, where the girls stay. They've been over backwards to make it awesome. Blake at the tourism, he's been awesome. I'll be honest with you, it's just been a great time up in Clarksville so far. And we see that as a community that we can grow in and stay there for year after year after year, like we do here in Florida at the FGCL. Or if you want to repeat baseball, it's like the Cape Cod League type of stuff. For us, we want to find that community base. All of our team names and theme names are based after cultural type of like minor league baseball is in those areas. So we want to bring in the community support. We want to bring in the cultural themes and, the tourism. We just, we feel like Clarksville is going to be a mainstay for us in the next, umpteen years up there. We really do.
Now, are the young ladies that are playing in that league, are they local necessarily?
No. Okay. No, they're all from all over the country. We have, you name it, we got them. So even the same here in Florida, all of our leagues are represented just from different college programs around the country. So there might be a few locals sprinkled in there, obviously being a local there, but I'll be honest with you, 8% of them are all from out of town.
Okay. Now, how do you get those athletes, Ryan, from year to year?
We've been blessed. And since 2020, the FGCL has been well known in the softball circle, and a lot of college coaches who know that we are on top, of the game. And so we get a lot of referrals from college coaches, and obviously, and also we get a ton of referrals from the players themselves. Our goal is to make the experience super fun for them, and the game fun for them. And generally they're the word of mouth, they're the reference, and they go out and tell their teammates and their other teammates they had in travel ball one time. And so a lot of times, guys, the rosters kind of take care of themselves. It's a basic referral system, but we do have an online application system for each league. We do market, through social media. We reach, I'm out in the softball community a lot throughout the year. I don't know if you know this, but I currently also own and operate the Florida Vibe professional women's team, who happens to be in Clarksville today, actually. And I'm sure we'll talk about that here soon, but, so we're out and about all spring and fall, and, so the college coaches pretty much know, what's happening. And it's just made these expansion leagues even better because we're able to go to help these families out logistically and financially. So in other words, in the past, until last year with Clarksville, going into this year, Florida was the only destination you could do this in the summer for NCAA softball. Of course, baseball, they're everywhere, but not in softball. We were the first and only here in 2020. And, COVID taught, I think, a lot of lessons. Obviously, when we live post-COVID world financially, we wanted to give the opportunity to the out west and in the Midwest and up north. And our whole goal with the American Collegiate League is to set up this national regional-based system to where, we all play underneath the same umbrella, kind of like the MLB is to minor league. And we have same rules, same format, same theme, same everything like that, to where the girls can get the same experience in Florida as they can in Nashville or Clarksville, or they can get in Irvine or wherever we might be. And that way, the girls have an opportunity to share those experiences. But, for us, it's just, we get a lot of players from all over the place, and, it's just a lot of fun, honestly.
Ryan, a couple things that jump out to me. A very exciting endeavor, to say the least, both in terms of growing the game of softball and bringing coverage here to Middle Tennessee, is walk us through that relationship with Austin Peay, because that's a school that's kind of in an upward trajectory themselves. And I feel like partnering between you guys seems like two really upward trajectory entities there. How did that relationship come about?
Actually, Cassie Stanfield, the head coach of APSU softball, she's been a terrific partner. She was a big advocate to get us there. And then she introduced me to the higher ups at Austin Peay University. And I got to know those guys in the off season, and they were just terrific. I mean, from minute one, I got to be honest, from minute one, this ain't the easiest thing to do, guys. It's hard. And, APSU made it really easy. Andy Keene, the facilities director over there, from everybody from housing to cafeteria. I mean, they laid out the red carpet. I just couldn't be more pleased with APSU. And it's a beautiful campus, as you guys know, and it's in the heart of downtown Clarksville, and there's a lot to do. And in fact, when I went up there for the first time, I was like, there's no shortages of dining areas. There's every restaurant in America in Clarksville, but just a lot to do. And Austin Peay has just been just terrific. And Cassie set all that up for us. And I really appreciate her and her support for college softball and what she does for these young ladies and opening the door to Austin Peay. And then we met with Blake, the tourism director there, and we just set sail, and it's really built a really good relationship with the local peoples. Like I said, Brian Rush and at Clarksville High School, as well as Joe Warren and at Clarksville High School, they've been terrific for our league as well. Give credit where credit's due. It's just been a really good experience there.
Absolutely. I can see that being a great relationship. And on the flip side of that, what challenges have you guys already ran into, and what are some teaching or teachable moments that you guys, this is obviously having been in college athletics, nothing is ever easy the first go around, or not even the 10th go around. So what are some things you guys are kind of working on and tweaking as you go this summer?
Well, like anything, I mean, you start somewhere and you learn as you go. And we feel like we've been doing that the last 4 years with the league down here in Florida that we have. And we've learned from our own mistakes like anything else. And we're always going to make mistakes, and you're going to learn from those. And again, our number one goal is, no matter where we're at, just make it about the girls, make it about the players, make it about the athletes, from the coaching standpoint, for the living standpoint, from whatever it is, just make it first class about them. And we just want to keep our focus on that. And I think if we can keep our focus on the athletes and the players and make it about them and the experience, I think it's going to be an awesome experience for everybody. But again, some of the hurdles, I mean, here in Florida, it's hotter than crap. And then and Nashville, as you know, as Clarksville, it's also hot. I didn't even know this year, but I guess there's some sort of state Tennessee rule about heat index. If it gets certain temperature, you kind of have to shut things down. So in here in Florida, we're used to the heat. 104 is no big deal, so those are some of the things, hurdles. Weather is always a hurdle we have to deal with, but we're ready to go with backup plans for different things, weather. And we live stream all the games too with live play-by-play. We have Gray Robertson and Tom Canterbury, the two voices of Alabama softball, been with us since 2020. And Gray's been up there, who made our Clarksville League just super exciting up there. A lot of the fans that tune in from all around the country get to see their daughters play, and the fans around the softball college world get to watch their teams play, from Oklahoma State to you name it. They're all there. And it's really fun, and those guys make it all interesting on the radio, and those personalities just make it really super special for us and the league and our success. So got to credit those guys and girls for the staff that they do. My son Colin is up there managing the ACL division up there for the Nashville League. He's doing a super job as the assistant director of the Music City Collegiate League. He's an ex-Rockies pro ball player, so he's been through the scene a little bit, and he's up there doing a great job too. And our coaches are second to none. They're great. They're great coaches. They know how to lead, and really that's what makes the league special, is that if you have good leaders and you have good chemistry, good things can happen. And that's really what we pray for, and that's what we try to just manufacture every year after year.
Ryan Moore, the CEO and owner of the American Collegiate League and Music City Collegiate League softball, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. And Ryan, you mentioned Clarksville and you mentioned eateries and you mentioned Austin Peay. So I got to ask you, have you been to Johnny's Big Burger yet?
I have not, but I'm going to have to ask my son and Gray if they have, because they've been up there more than I have. So when I get up there, I'm getting there because it sounds just good.
It's right across from campus, man, and thank me later.
Okay.
Wanted to ask you about
Sure.
the schedule. First of all, I mean, how often do they play up there?
We cram a lot, 23 to 25 games in a 4-week span with an all-star game and playoffs. And so we play every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's a rigorous schedule. We crank the games out because we believe that the girls, they need the reps in. So there's a number of games that you need in order to get a steady amount of games, reps in for them. And then, but they also need to have the summer to relax and do an R&R before they head off to college too, again. So we try to really make it, jam packed in a 4-week season. And, and we just try to really, we play every day pretty much. We give them a couple of days off. And so far the last 4 years, we've done it that way and it's worked out great. So I can't see us changing any of that soon, but we will have an all-star game on an off day and we'll have a double elimination playoffs to crown champions. So, and we do have a couple of extracurricular things. I think that you guys, I don't know if it's on your agenda to talk about, but we do give the girls an opportunity to do something that no one ever really gets to do, and that is to play the pro teams.
Yeah, I know you've got a game. The Florida Vibe, your professional team, is coming up and playing tomorrow against, I think it said Team Tennessee on a tweet. So what are they, like, picking an all-star team, so to speak, to play them?
Yeah, so we've been doing it down here in Florida a little bit with a team we call Team Florida, but it's the FTCL basically chosen all-stars that get to play the Florida Vibe professional team. And the professional team obviously is, paid professional players, and the Florida Vibe go on summer tour, and we play different professional teams and national teams throughout the country. And currently they just got done with Chattanooga at the Scenic City event there, playing the Alliance, and now they're there now in Clarksville. And yes, they'll play the Music City Collegiate League All-Star team tomorrow night at Austin Peay University at, I think it's 6:00 Central Time. And that's going to be a lot of fun for those college girls. It's not every day you get to play against your, competitors that are in pro ball and the girls that, obviously just got back from the College World Series, Ashley Prangy, AJ Andrews. I mean, we've got some, big time names, obviously, throughout the entire roster of the Florida Vibe. So we're excited about, growing the game for the college, athlete as well. And that's all part of it.
So 6:00 tomorrow at Austin Peay, the Florida Vibe is playing the Music City Collegiate League All-Stars, and then you will resume league play on Thursday and Friday then at Clarksville High. Is that right?
Yes, sir. They'll get right back at it. And then they'll be off July 4th and 5th and then catch on the schedule again every day. So, so tomorrow night's the Music City League against the Florida Vibe. And then on Thursday, the Music City League gets back to business at Clarksville High School. But another little surprise is we have traveled with Team Canada, the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games. We have brought Team Canada to Clarksville. Clarksville will be Team Canada will be in Clarksville for 6 games against the Florida Vibe, starting on Thursday night at 6:00, as well as Friday night 6:00, and a double dip on Saturday and Sunday starting at 1. All those games are at Austin Peay University, and then we also have a surprise for the Music City League All-Stars that they will get a chance to take on the bronze medalist Team Canada at Clarksville High School on Monday morning. So we're excited about that opportunity to give the Music City Collegiate League players a chance at 2 professional teams in 1 week. I think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Is there a website, Ryan, where fans can go and kind of keep up with the schedule and try to pick a time to come out and check some of this out?
Yeah, the vibesoftball.com, www.vibesoftball.com has the MCCL as well as the Canadian games scheduled on them for times. And also the live stream information is on there as well. They can pick a game and watch it if they're not from the local area. Obviously, we're encouraging all local fans to get out to the games. In fact, we do have a $10 entry in for the games, for the professional games. However, under 12 is free. And if a travel ball team brings their team jersey, they also get in free too. So there's some incentives there to get the youth. youth softball players there and get free gate there as well. So we're excited about being in Clarksville. It's not every day Clarksville sees 2 professional teams, a bronze medalist Olympic team, and some Olympians, plus a pretty star-studded professional team in Clarksville. So definitely one for the history books.
Absolutely. Ryan Moore, the CEO and owner of the American Collegiate League and Music City Collegiate League Softball, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Ryan, we really appreciate your time, man, and enjoy talking to you, getting some information on this. It's sounds like a lot of fun and pretty impressive.
Well, we appreciate it. God's been good to us, and thanks to you guys and others like you, and really spreading the word and giving these girls an opportunity to grow their game, and that's what it's all about, guys. We just trying to give these girls and athletes an opportunity to grow their own game and brand, and so they can go back to their college programs better than ever before, and help those programs win championship rings, and just build them up in the process too. So that's our goal, and appreciate you guys and the support that you guys have given the league and all your fans. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk today. So very humbled and honored to be on your show.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll catch up with you.
Thank you, guys.
When we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, we'll talk a little Braves, because that's what we do. Stay with us.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park, each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
June 27th, 1982, despite allowing 8 hits, Rick Camp and the bullpen trio of Steve Bedrosian, Gene Garber, and Al Roboski took advantage of 7 double plays, 4 in the first 4 innings, to blank host Cincinnati 2-0 in 14 innings. The 7 twin killings tied a major league record, but the Braves had to have RBI singles from Chris Chambliss and Bob Horner in the top of the 14th, then a 2-out fly ball from Alex Trevino with ex-Nashville Sound Dwayne Walker on base to secure the victory at Riverfront Park. That was this day in Braves history. So, the Braves continue to roll last night. By the way, y'all will appreciate that Braves history, because anytime we get this day in Braves history that resulted in a victory, it's a good time. So, but yeah, last night, 4-1, came back from an early 1-0 deficit on a Joey Gallo home run off of Spencer Strider, and kind of knocked Sonny Gray around a little bit. Sonny Gray, who came into that game with a 2.56 ERA, I think he gave up 3 of the 4 runs and took that loss there. But we've talked about it. I would say ad nauseum, but since we're Braves fans, that's probably not the case. But I mean, this offense doesn't need much to get rolling. And again, Sonny Gray held them down for a large portion of the night before they finally struck late. Tied the game in the 4th on a Travis d'Arnaud base hit, and then scored 3 runs in the 7th to get the 4-1 win.
Quality win. I caught a little bit of the rally there from Atlanta, and like you said, does not take much for them to get going, and when they do, they can turn it on you in a hurry.
Yeah, and a different closer last night. Kirby Yates earns his first save of the year, and I guess it's probably his first save in some time, as he came back from Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago and was still kind of working his way back in 2022, but starting to see some good stuff out of him. And Yao had kind of been preaching his virtues a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't quite ready to hear it, and I'm still not sure that I am. But again, a good outing from him last night, coming behind Ben Heller, who worked 1/3 of an inning, and Colin McHugh, who worked 2/3 of an inning. So the two of them got through the 8th behind Strider, who struck out 10 in 7 innings, gave up 3 hits and the 1 earned run. So I mean, I'm kind of running out of things to say about the Braves as we sit here on June 27th. I mean, they're 51-27, and I don't know that they're necessarily pulling away in the NL East, but things are pretty comfortable right now.
Yep, they seem to be rolling, and I saw a graphic today. Was it 99.7% chance to make the playoffs at this point? And a question that I have for you, Mr. Patton, you're kind of a little more dialed in, is a couple of friends of mine who have they may or may not have some financial interest in the Spencer Strider Cy Young market from earlier in the season. And, my question is, last night, it seems like he's kind of getting back into form, so to speak. He's still technically listed at 3rd in your odds, with that ERA still hovering around 4, but it seems like it's another quality start for the mustached man himself last night.
Yeah, absolutely. His last couple, he looked more like himself in his last start as well against Philadelphia than he had, in his previous handful. He struggled a little bit, but I mean, I think the struggle almost has to be expected when you're talking about a guy who is a second-year major leaguer. He just kind of burst onto the scene last year, and I don't know if folks figured him out necessarily, or if he's still just kind of figuring some things out on his own, because I think because he does have the capability of being such a high velo guy that he's trying to figure out whether to, lean on that velo or, try to extend his stays on the mound. And when he's throwing 92, 93, he's hittable. When he's throwing 97, 98, less so, which makes sense. But I think he's figuring out that he can do both. Again, last night, 7 innings, 10 strikeouts. So if he's getting into the 6th, into the 7th, I think that's where the Braves want him to be, and that's the best thing with the bullpen situation and everything like that. So if he can continue to do that and continue to put up the double-digit strikeouts on a fairly consistent basis, I think he's going to be around at the end. And your friend's financial concerns may be in good shape. So.
Yeah, and the wins obviously, rightly or wrongly, still get a little bit of the attention. So it's good to see, like you said, when the bullpen can hang on and stack up a few wins. So a nice tidy record at the end of the season certainly never hurt a Cy Young candidacy, I suppose. So, but yeah, this guy just, when he is on, he is blowing people away. And it seemed like he did have a few little bumps in the road, but the last couple starts especially last night, seems like he's clicking again.
Absolutely. Phase 2 of the All-Star voting began yesterday, and the Braves, as we mentioned yesterday, are pretty well represented in Phase 2. Tallies after yesterday, Matt Olson has 40% of the vote at first place. Freddie Freeman has 60%. Second base, Ozzie Albies has 46% of the vote. Luis Arias has 54%. At third, maybe the biggest deficit for a Brave, as Austin Riley has 42% of the vote to Nolan Arenado's 58%. Orlando Arcia has doubled Francisco Lindor of the Mets. He's got 69% of the vote to Lindor's 31%. In the outfield, Mookie Betts and Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks are the top two vote getters in Phase 2 with 35% and 31%. Michael Harris II with 19%, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. of the D-backs with 16%. So, also Sean Murphy leads Will Smith 56% to 44% at catcher. So still got a shot. I think it wraps up on Thursday. So the Braves could be very well represented in the starting lineup, and regardless, I think they're going to be very well represented in the game. But getting that start is always a big deal, I think. And the more of our guys we can throw out there on the field for the start, the better. I like it. So should be fun.
Yeah, you want to see as many hats out there as possible.
Have you seen the hats?
I have not just yet.
So the National League is wearing some kind of pale bluish something with the team's logo, and I think the American League is wearing some sort of a darker blue, maybe. But it's definitely interesting. I don't know what the connection is between that shade of blue and Seattle, but it's always interesting when you get those all-star uniforms together. So
gonna check those out. Hey, speaking of hats, by the way, a couple of weeks ago.
There we go. Look at Justin coming through. Is that blue or is that gray or what is that?
It's almost like a
seafoam
green almost. Yeah, like a green of sorts.
Yeah. I don't know.
Those are pretty gnarly.
I don't know if I like that.
You don't like those?
I don't know if I do. It's definitely different. So,
well,
Justin, do we have the American leagues?
Yeah, I'm curious on those too.
Yeah.
And while he's pulling that up, speaking of hats, it struck yet again. Yao and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. They're playing the Twins last night, and I won't go on a soapbox about MLB TV and blackouts, but there is a way that you can watch kind of around the horn type coverage, kind of like a red zone type deal, and the audio for the Braves game is muted, and I see the Twins in the field, and I see the giant M, and it looks like they're playing the Marlins for a second. And Yao and I talked about that about 3 or 4 weeks ago on this very show, and it tripped me up for a good 5 seconds before I realized that I wasn't watching an old game on tape delay or something there.
Yeah, that anything other than the interlocking TC kind of throws you off on the Twins a little bit. It's not what you would expect at all. So that M, whatever that is a little different. But the Minnesota in that font on their jerseys is a little different as well. So it almost kind of looks like a City Connect thing that they're doing or something. These aren't your father's twins. So, hey, we're going to take a break. And when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, we will be joined, as we typically are on Tuesdays, by the voice of the Blue Raiders, Chip Walters. And I think Chip and I have some axes to grind with somebody. So check back with us. This should be fun.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. Chris Yao vacationing this week. Although we may get a surprise visit from him before the day is over with. So, because this Top 5 Tuesday here is right up his alley, as we will be drafting our top 5 cover songs. So be sure and check that out here to close out the show.
You knew he wasn't going to stay away all week long.
Well, that's okay. I typically don't either. So, he's got to check in and make sure we've not torn anything up. And that's okay.
That's fair. That's fair. He's just doing a little damage assessment is all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We, on Tuesdays about this time, are typically joined by the voice of the Blue Raiders, Chip Walters, as we are right now. The voice of the Blue Raiders, Chip Walters, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. Good Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Walters.
How you doing? How's Mr. Neely doing too?
We are great. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. Are you letting Wade pick out the music today? So he was kind of grooving coming out of the break, I noticed. So
No, he's just got a little bounce to him. That's okay. We like that. We like a little extra energy. It gets late early around here. So yeah.
I had
oh,
an extra diet soda before we went on air. So
there you go. Hey, I'll give you my pop #1 cover song of all time and country music cover song of all time.
Go ahead.
Pop, I Will Always Love You.
Mm-hmm.
Dolly had it, then Whitney Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Massive hits. And a lot of folks don't know this is a cover in country. My Maria, Brooks and Dunn. That was not an original.
I knew it was not an original. I don't remember who did it. Was it Freddie Fender?
No, it's a guy who, I can't remember his name, but it's like like initials like E.F. Hutton, but it was not E.F. Hutton, but it was somebody who went by initials of some sort. But and what's funny, if you go back and you listen to that guy's original, it sounds eerily the same as Brooks and Dunn almost. But if you got a good one, why mess with it?
B.W. Stevenson.
There you go. I told you, I knew it was initials.
You were on point.
You were
not B.J. Thomas.
Not B.J. Thomas. No. So yeah, Chip is always on point. Chip, I'm going to throw you a softball here before we get into the hard stuff, but I got a release earlier today. MTSU will be teaming with Nobody Trashes Tennessee on 629 Day here on Thursday.
This is the second year in a row that they've done this, and basically they do partner with the it's the Department of Transportation has a division called Nobody Trashes Tennessee, and they market that brand, with different sports teams, whether it's college, and I know they do a lot with TSSAA as well. And it's just to kind of keep top of mind the amount of trash that is on the roads. Since 2016, the amount of trash on Tennessee byways has dropped from 100 million pieces to 88 million pieces, and a lot of it has been part of the public awareness program. But Blue Raiders student athletes will, in particular, for a second year in a row, will go out and they will take on the Stones River Greenway, which and I'm not sure they're going to do the whole thing, which is 14 miles that runs through Murfreesboro, but they will have a piece of it, and so Blue Raider athletes are going to be out there. I know there were pictures of, I think, both basketball teams that were out there, football guys, the student athletes who happened to be in town at this time, and on 629 Day, which is June 29th. Funny how that works out, but that's what will happen, and it's just part of the community outreach that our student athletes continue to do on a yearly, monthly, weekly basis, and giving back to the community. So trying to make things a little nicer out there.
From 9 to 11, MTSU's contingent will be out at the Stones River Greenway at the Cannonsburg Trailhead on South Front Street. So
that's correct. Oh, look at there.
If you are of a mind to go out and join them, look at him. Who is this guy? Yeah. If you are of a mind to join them, feel free to do so. I'm sure they'd love the help.
So that's coming up, and just, a nice little summer project for them to be working on.
Speaking of summer projects, the Ohio Valley Conference continues to commemorate its 75th anniversary. Here over the last couple of days, they have released their men's and women's 75th anniversary basketball teams. After
they have.
We discussed football when last we visited with Mr. Walters. Chip, I know that you are way more professional than I am, so I'm going to let you start in on this, and then I'll come behind you and take it where it really needs to go. But There were two members of the Ohio Valley Conference 75th anniversary women's basketball team representing Middle Tennessee State University, and there were 3 men.
That's correct. Obviously they hold a grudge. Jennifer McFall from right there in the Dimple, and Kim Webb from Smyrna, who is the only female who has a number hung up in the rafters at Murphy Center. Those two obviously well deserved. But are you telling me that from a program that dominated women's basketball during the 80s and most of the 90s, that there are no more than 2 that should have gotten in there? And on the men's side, here's a program that played in the OVC for 50 years, and for and then you had the great runs of the middle 70s, which Tim Cisneros and George Sorrell were part of that. Jerry Beck, who in 1982 was his senior year, helped lead the Blue Raiders over the Kentucky Wildcats in the NCAA tournament. He's in there, and he is at the time he was the only 2-time OVC Player of the Year. But are you telling me that Kerry Hammonds, Ty Bainham, Andrew Tunstall, Kim Cooksey, guys who won NCAA tournament games as well and championships, didn't get a sniff? Jimmy Earle, not listed as one of the coaches, which that will get some folks in Pulaski riled up too, Mr. Neely. It's and the first tip off of this was, and grateful that he's there finally, but that it took until 2023 to get Dean Hayes into their Hall of Fame. Very proud of the ones who made it. And Larry Joe Inman, by the way, need to mention Larry Joe. He is one of the coaches on the women's side who had great, won championships at Middle, Eastern Kentucky, and then also coached at Tennessee State, and maybe the most acclaimed coach in women's basketball in the OVC. But, it seems to me they're coming up a little short, and that'll be my political correctness there.
Yeah. Well and I said it when they did finally get around to recognizing and honoring the late Dean Hayes. And I'll repeat it now. I'd almost just as soon they not at this point. Because if you're telling me that Jennifer McFall and Kim Webb are the only 2 MTSU women's basketball players that deserve to be on a 75th anniversary team, I don't know I'd love to know who's in charge of this.
Yeah. And obviously Middle's had a great run under Coach Insel, but you think about the players that Larry Joe had, you think about Janet Ross, you think about, all those players that played for Lewis Bivens,
Holly Hoover, Kay Wilbanks.
Yeah. The list is long, and
it is.
So interesting, but again, proud of the ones who are on there, and they are certainly deserving, and just wish there could have been a little more representation there.
I almost wish they had just based it on current membership.
That's where I thought you were going to go with that, and so I get it. So, and
it's I don't think it's a good look for them. especially like you said, when you take Dean Hayes finally getting into the Hall of Fame, and then this from a team that, you know, at times ran that conference in both men's and women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, there was, you know, you think about between 1975 and 1995, that's a 20-year period. And while the men had some extremely high highs, they had a few low years in there too, but the women, once Larry Joe got in and got things going, I mean, and then Lewis Bivens picked it up. That was a 20-year run. After Tennessee Tech had their run, and Marinelle Metters, by the way, a middle grad. She, you know, she had in Tech really was the pioneer in women's basketball. There's no question about that. But Middle came in and challenged them and surpassed them for a long period of time, and made for a great rivalry, that's for sure, with Marinelle and then Bill Worrell as head coach. I think they've sold the Blue Raiders a little short there on both sides.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's I don't know if it's ignorance or apathy. You know, I don't know and I don't care. I mean, but I just don't think it's a good look. Chip, what else is going on in the borough?
Well, couple of notes here. Helen Pena, who these are a lot of times off-season moves where folks get some promotions. Helen Pena, who's been Jeff Breeden's assistant now for the last 5 years, she was named associate head coach. On the women's volleyball side, for the Blue Raiders, you had Jenna Orner, who has also been an assistant coach for Chuck Crawford for the last few years. She was promoted to associate head coach. So, you know, that's been good. And for those, men's basketball made a little news. They filled out their roster, got that 13th scholarship player, Jacob Johnson, who comes from Long Island University. And this looks to be a pretty good get, Mo and Wade, because he's a guy that led Long Island in points, rebounds, assists, and minutes per game last year for LIU, and his best performance came against eventual national champion UConn with 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, had 17 and 8 against Marquette, and 17 points on 7 of 11 field goals against St. John's in a non-conference game. But our friend Sam Doughton has a podcast out that's on. He's got a summer podcast series that's starting on GoBlueRaiders.com. First episode came out yesterday it's called Coach's Check-In, and he'll talk with each head coach here. And I think most of the interviews have been done, but they released the one with Coach McDevitt yesterday, and it's really interesting to hear Nick's take on finally getting the roster complete. He was able to talk about all of his new guys and talking about the process of retooling the roster with guys, you know, heading out through the transfer portal and those coming in, and how he feels about where they are now with those changes. And Sam, by the way, it will be on my show on WGNS tomorrow morning from 9 to 10, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I know Aston Roden, the podcast with him will come out Thursday, so they're going to have a couple of week for the next month, I think. Mm-hmm. And so those are going to be interesting, and you can find those on GoBlueRaiders.com. So that's but Jacob, Johnson looks like to be a really nice addition. I went over to the rec center last week. Can't remember what day it was. I don't know if I told you about this or not, but it worked out to where Coach Insel had his team camps going on, and my radio partner, Kyle Turnham, his team, his Shelbyville team was had a game, I think, against Oneida at 5 o'clock, whatever afternoon it was. And men's basketball just happened to be, because they had gotten booted out of Murphy Center with team camp, so they were there in the rec center as well, and they were on a court that was actually adjacent to the one where Kyle's team was. So I got to kill a couple of birds with one stone there and watch a workout and also watch Kyle's team play. But the workout, I was really impressed with some of the new faces. Chris Loof, I think, is going to be a fan favorite. True freshman coming in from San Antonio. I mean, he's got flaming red hair, 6'11", and can jump out of the gym, and really is explosive. And he will be a really nice combo to go with Jared Coleman Jones down in the post. So looking forward to that. All of the new guys were there. The only guy I didn't see was Jacob had signed yet, but everybody else was there, and very high energy workout. And one of the things that Nick is really excited about is the trip to Italy that's coming up in August, that they will have 10 practices leading up to that, that they can 10 full team practices, not just summer workouts, that kind of thing. But they will have 10 practices with this whole team before they go to Italy and play a couple of games during their foreign tour. But I asked him yesterday how he plans on working that out, and ironically, he said that Kermit Davis had dropped by the gym at Murphy Center last Friday, I think. Yeah, it was this past Friday. Kermit was in town and stopped by and was watching workouts, and so he said they got to talking about, because both of them have taken teams to foreign tours, and whether it's Costa Rica or wherever it might be, and Kermit said that in the past he had basically backed up 10 days from the day you get on the plane and went hard for 10 days. He goes, that was a mistake. He goes, I shouldn't have done that. So what I think Nick is going to do leading up to that will be, he'll go 4 weeks out, and he'll have 2 practices, 3 practices, 3 practices. So he'll get his 10 in, but give them some recovery time, before they take the flight to Europe. So that's coming up on the radar. Also looking forward here in the next, I think just about everybody is here waiting to see on the women's side, the new signees that are coming in from Europe that they have, and see that whole group together, because I mean, I think it'll be the biggest team that Coach Ensel's had. And I think for Coach McDevitt as well, this is going to be his overall biggest team that he's going to put on the floor, because he's got that template that he loves, those 6'4" to 6'7" guys that are interchangeable at a lot of positions, and then have his post players go with that. But I think there's a lot of excitement right now with basketball going on, and football is still doing their thing. They've gotten acclimated to the new weight room that's moved from the weight room down into the dance studio, because any day now we're told that construction is going to begin on the demolition of the weight room. So a lot of things happening right now.
Absolutely. And Chip, as we get you out of here, 2 things. You mentioned women's basketball. I got my Aces shirt on. Alicia hit a big three last night, so it's good to see her getting some run. And number 2, 67 days away till kickoff versus Bama.
God, you're scaring me to death. I'm not quite ready for all of that, but here we are, and I know the football team is gearing up. Not only, it's easy for fans to get excited about going to Alabama and Missouri. I know the football team they are as well. But here they are. They get to take a look at a newly formed or a newly shaped Conference USA, and hey, is this a year where you can make a run to get into the championship game again and see, because you got a lot of guys back, and and I think there are going to be some guys that we've not really heard a lot about that have come out of the portal that are going to fill some holes. And Coach Stock always has a few of those in his back pocket that you don't really know about until fall camp starts, and he goes, "Who's that guy?" And things like that. So it's I'm kind of excited about what's coming ahead, and looking forward to it.
The voice of the Blue Raiders, Chip Walters, joining us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, as he typically does on Tuesdays. Chip,
typically being the operative word. Yeah.
Typically being, except when it's on Wednesdays. Yes. And it won't be next Tuesday because we will not be on the air, but we will make some alternate arrangements to get you back in front of our audience as quickly as possible. But Chip, we appreciate it, man, as always.
All right. Good to see you, boys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip.
And now, as we bring in the vacationing Chris Yao, looking awfully comfortable, it is time for Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. Dallas Steele, keeping you in shape, as you're going to the barbecues and to the beach and that kind of thing. Dallas, making sure that you're good to go. 2 locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Be sure and check him out at Steele Athletes on Instagram. And again, cover songs, top 5. Luke Combs, Tracy Chapman inspired here. So, Justin, I know you said you're going to step out for Yao or for Wade, but who do we know what order we are drafting in today?
No, actually, we'll go off of last week's, or last week's. So you can go ahead, Bo, and then we'll have Chris and Wade.
All right. Who? So
you first.
You're first.
Yeah, you're first.
Me first? Me
Yep.
first. All right, me first. Well, I'm going right out of the box with Nothing Compares to You, covered by Sinead O'Connor, originally done by Prince.
Had a feeling
Wade,
you might go that route.
Wade, you are the guest, so go ahead.
All right, I'm going to step out of the box, and I'm going quickly with Killing Me Softly, redone by the Fugees. That was an iconic song of my youth, so that's my first choice.
Solid. Yeah.
Fancy, Reba McEntire.
That's a cover.
Yes, originally done by Bobby Gentry and written solely by Bobby Gentry at the behest of Rick Hall down at Fame Studios.
As I was going over this, I thought I remembered a Reba cover, but I could not remember what it was. So
that's my favorite one.
That's a good one. My turn.
Yep.
Walk This Way, covered by Run DMC, originally by Aerosmith.
That is a solid choice, and it is heard around ballparks nationwide. No doubt about that. Next up for me is I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, maybe taking that one to stratospheric heights compared to the original as recorded by the Arrows, everybody knows, of course, from England in 1975.
Of course.
Landslide, the Chicks.
Yeah, I was just rattling them off here. No notes,
Yeah.
nothing. He's means business today.
He does. Well, he takes his music seriously. Number 3, I am going. I'm going Proud Mary.
Go.
Can't go wrong
Ike and
there.
Tina from Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Next up for me is All Along the Watchtower. Jimmy, I mean, that's tough to beat right there.
My number 3 is going to be Bonnie Raitt's cover of John Prine's Angel from Montgomery.
All right. Number 4. I don't know how this lasted this long, but okay. I Will Always Love You, as Chip said. Whitney and Dolly.
That's an iconic duo in and of itself right there. Number 4 for me, I love me some Al Green, but I'm going Take Me to the River, Talking Heads version.
There you go.
Smooth Criminal, Alien Ant Farm.
That is a good one right there.
That is a good one.
Heard it gyms nationwide.
Yes.
A lot of meat on this bone. I'm gonna go American Woman. Lenny Kravitz. Originally, Guess Who?
One. Wow, that's a good one.
That is a fantastic. And my last one, producer Justin and I collabing on this one. So take your pick. But we're a little out of the box. Then again, we're a little out of the box guys. So go figure. The Star Spangled Banner as done by either Whitney Houston or Marvin Gaye. Take your pick on either one.
Nice.
My number 5 should be number 1. It's across all of country music. Tennessee Whiskey, Chris Stapleton.
Nice way to close out Top 5 Tuesday cover songs. We will allow y'all to vote on those. Nice way to close out the Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Come back with us at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see y'all then.